Hi, welcome to the Back to Basics Weight Loss Surgery channel. I'm Dana, your Saturday vlogger, also known as Ms. Danadrous. So I asked some folks in the Back to Basics Weight Loss Surgery Facebook group, what would you like for me to talk about? And one person suggested, what keeps me motivated? So thought I would share with you what keeps me motivated. First of all, I just celebrated yesterday my 10-month surgery, so I'm still in the losing stage, and as a result, I will say, to some extent, it's not been real difficult for me to stay motivated. I think staying motivated is going to be harder as I actually hit my final goal and have to maintain. But there are some things that, I do to stay motivated, and I can see over the, 10-month course of time, things, your motivation kind of ebbs and wanes a little bit. It's harder to stay on track, as the newness wears off a little bit. So, to kind of organize my thoughts, I did a couple things here. So first of all, I kind of just went back and said, well, let me break down, what are some parts and pieces of motivation. We hear about intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. So, intrinsic motivation is the stuff that comes from inside of us, and extrinsic is the external stuff. I will tell you that I use a mix of things internally and externally to help keep my motivation going, and I'll give you some specific examples about that. Another thing that I read that I thought I had really thought about this before, but as I was trying to break this down, I found some stuff about three major components about motivation. The first is what they call activation. That's the decision to actually change a behavior, to set a goal, to change a behavior. And, so your decision that you're going to start this weight loss journey, your decision to move forward with surgery, to make a life change. And I think part of that is really looking at what is the decision. Is it about losing weight? Is it about changing your life and healthy life? So if, your decision was simply to lose weight, then your motivation may be more difficult than if your decision is to lead a healthy life and to, change your overall lifestyle. So, for me, I definitely wanted to lose weight, but I really wanted to change the quality of my life so I could live the life that I wanted to. The second component is persistence, and that's about the continued effort towards your goal, even though obstacles exist. And I think, when folks pose the question about what keeps me motivated, that's what we're talking about typically. It's that persistence thought. How do you stay motivated over time, that long-term stuff? So you made the decision to go forward, but in the day in and day out, how do you keep going? And the third is intensity. So the concentration and vigor that goes into pursuing that goal. And, I know that on, certain days I have high intensity, and on other days I don't have high intensity, but I still need to have that underlying movement towards the goal. And I know on my own channel I talked a little bit about willpower, and I'm trying to noodle around in my head, when does willpower and habit, how do they overlap? And when does willpower just turn into habit? Because sometimes you can consciously think and will yourself into doing something, and sometimes you just run out of steam with willpower. So really, I think this question is not so much about the activation, though I think you got to question it. And it's more about the persistence piece, maybe a little bit about the intensity piece. So, what do I do to stay motivated? Well, first of all, and some people will not like this answer, I'm sure, I do use the scale on a daily basis. And for me, right now, The scale is a motivator. I don't let it be a demotivator. And so what I mean by that is that I celebrate when it goes down. I go, yay, I'm on the right track. But when it goes up some, I don't beat myself up about it. I know that my pattern of, because I am a daily weigher, I know that I will do this like a bobble of patterns, of up and down. And so even yesterday, I hit 175.8, and my first goal weight is 175, and I'm like, I'm not calling it as a goal because that was a low dip, and I will come up and I'll dip then back down further, and sure enough today I'm up a little bit. So if you're the kind of person who beats yourself up or obsesses about it, then I don't think the scale is a good motivator for you. And it's definitely kind of one of the external things. So, but for me, it is a motivator for me. My closet is a motivator. Probably, when I started this journey, I had clothes that were, I was wearing size 26, 28, and I had, in my easily accessible closet, I had clothes down to like a size 22, and then packed away in boxes, I had clothes down to size 18 and a very few 14s and 16s from years ago. So every 2 to 3 weeks, I was trying on smaller size clothes. How are they fitting? Ooh, they're close. They're not ready to be worn in public yet, but they're close. And let me tell you, as soon as something got baggy on me, especially, pants. As soon as pants got baggy on me, I cannot stand baggy jeans. I want my jeans to be snug in the butt. I was getting rid of them, putting them aside, and going into that back stock. I have done a little bit of thrift store shopping, not a lot. I'm just now, 10 months into my journey, I'm reaching that bottom stock of size 14s, and I'm going to have to start going into some new things. And so now my motivation is probably going to be some window shopping, where I'm going to go in and try on clothes. But my husband probably thinks I'm nuts that I would spend an evening just going into my closet and trying on stuff, and I might spend an hour or 2 hours just retrying on things. And how were they fitting, and how were they looking, and putting on stuff that was, well, this is too big now, I can't wear it anymore, and putting it aside. So that was motivating for me. The external, again. I watch a lot of YouTube, and if you're a Facebooker and you don't watch YouTube, it helps me to look at Facebook, but I get the connection with people more from YouTube, and listening to their stories more, and hearing things more from them. So I listen to other people that motivate me. I go back, and it sounds bad to say it, but I go back and I listen to myself from months ago, and I look at myself and I say, gosh, I just look and I think, you've changed a lot. You look different, and that keeps me motivated. That is one thing that I do. I still receive a lot of motivation from people who compliment me at work and things like that. Of course, that's motivating. So those are all external things that, are great. And believe me, they are a wonderful source of motivation. I think the other part that is real important is what's your intrinsic motivation. And so, there are some things I do for that too. And I do some things to help encourage or boost that internal motivation. So one of the things that I do is, I stop and I think. I think about where I was, and every day how different I feel now at 115 pounds less than I was, and still being excited about what's yet to come that I don't know about. And I'm motivated by that. I don't know why I'm motivated. I mean, I know why I'm motivated by the past, but I'm motivated by saying, let me experience what's yet to come. I do a little bit of motivational reading, but not a lot. Some people, if you may be the kind of person who can read motivational stories or quotes or things like that. I have a few books that I've read. I have read Skinny Jeans at Last. I have read the Thriving book, that the WLSFA. I haven't even read that one all the way through, but some of that you may read. That may help you. I listen to upbeat, positive music that makes me feel good. I do it in the car, and I car dance. I dance at home. I listen to things that make me feel good. I look at things that make me feel good. I have Pinterest board, and I look at things, some clothes, but visual things that make me feel good. I do look at food. I try not to get trapped into the bad for you food, but I look at food and say, that's pretty. I try to look and explore the visual stuff. It's this trying to feed my senses and realizing that there is a whole host of things that help me be in this body a happier person. That keeps me motivated, knowing that the extra pounds held me back. And the continuation on the journey towards whatever this is helpful. I don't know how to express it more other than to say, you internally have to stop and say, what is it that you want to fill your life with? And it for me, I get a lot of pleasure in music, colors, photography, artwork. I can spend hours on Pinterest just looking at things on there. I get in creativity, and that fills me with pleasure, which in turn kind of creates this positivity, which in turn builds the motivation for continuing the positive changes in my weight loss journey. And I don't know where it comes from first, the chicken or the egg. I really don't. But together, it is about, I think, trying to figure out the vision for my life and fill it with positive things. Now I don't have, it's just my husband and I at home. My kids are grown and out of the house. I have time to do those kinds of things for myself. I don't have kids that I have to take care of and get to school, etc. But if I did, I know I would still have to carve out some time to do that, because I need to be with myself and enjoy that stuff in order to to continue this movement forward. A surprising motivation for me has been my Fitbit. I don't like to sweat. I did a video on this a couple of weeks ago. I don't like to sweat. I've never been an exerciser. But this little gadget that tracks my steps has really helped me a lot. And, you know, I had originally set at the first of the year a goal where I was going to exercise at least 10,000 steps at least 4 days a week, and I did that for the whole first quarter of the year. And as part of the Back to Basics Transformation Academy, I decided I was going to do 10,000 steps a day for all 40 days of the challenge. We're on day 12 now, day 11. I've done 10,000 steps every day, and it's been tough as hell some days. But you know what? I have found that I look at this thing and go, oh, I'm not there yet. And I do it, and I get it in. And then the fact that I did it is so motivating. And the next day I can go back and look and I can say, oh my God, I did it. And I go back and I've looked and I look and I've done it for 5 days. I've done it for 6 days. I've done it 7 days. So celebrating your past successes, whether that's looking at old pictures, whether that's looking at your journals, whether that's looking at your food diary, whether that is looking at your Fitbit record, whether that's watching your YouTube videos, that kind of celebrating where you've been will helps me stay unstuck and moving forward. I think the last thing that I'll say about motivation, believe it or not, I ever say a last thing, is if you've got negative shit in your life, you need to purge it. And that's going to be a hard thing to do, perhaps. The negative junk, the negative people, the negative environments can zap you tremendously of your motivation. It can suck it to death out of you. And it just means that you're gonna have to overcompensate unless you can kill it out of your life. And you know, it might be part of the change that you need to make in order to give yourself the life that you want, you know. And I think you can only you can answer that particular question for yourself. So I don't know that this was helpful. Again, the things that you got to think about is, yes, there's some external things that you can do to stay motivated, and there's some internal stuff. Sometimes when you're finding that internal stuff gets weak, look to the external stuff. Eventually though, the external stuff is not what you can depend on. It has to be your internal motivation that is really going to pull you forward. And that has to be tied down to what's the deep desires of your heart. And when you're alignment of that deep desire of your heart, then I think that you'll find that motivation. So I hope this was helpful to you, and I hope you have a great week. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.